Late this afternoon, Teddy Cahill of Baseball America broke the news nationally, and it's a big national story. Kendall Rogers then followed up on it, and others, that Paul Mainieri is going to be the new head baseball coach at South Carolina. And, I mean, this is a huge hire from the standpoint of the man and his record, his reputation, a Hall of Fame baseball coach, a national championship winning baseball coach. South Carolina football did this back in the 60s, hired a guy from LSU by the name of Paul Dietzel, who'd won a national championship, and came to South Carolina, and it didn't go all that well for him. From a Gamecock standpoint, you hope that it goes a lot better for Paul Mainieri. We are happy to be joined by a friend of his, a former assistant coach, a former player at Air Force, our good friend Jim Corbett, good friends with Manny Robinson, and Jim said, hey, I know somebody who knows Paul Mainieri very well and can give you some insight. So we welcome Manny to Sports Talk tonight. He lives out in Texas, and he joins us now. Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. How are you doing tonight?
We're doing great. Thank you for having us. It's a pleasure to have you on our show across the state of South Carolina. Well, first of all,
my pleasure.
Tell us what you know, whatever background you can share on how all this went down. What can you tell us?
I know nothing. I got some of the same texts that y'all got today from some of my teammates and some friends of mine from Columbia, but it just feels very exciting, very positive, and I don't know how it went down, but I'm looking forward to what's going to happen next.
What was your reaction when you saw this, considering Coach Mainieri's been out of the game for 3 years? You know, you thought he was off on his retirement and all that, and all of a sudden his name pops up.
No, very exciting. I had the privilege of living in South Carolina for the past 5 or 6 years, and but stayed in touch with Coach Mainieri, stayed in touch when LSU would come play the Gamecocks. Excited for him and his family. Like y'all said in the intro, it seemed like he was retired, and but I know he's still got a lot to give to the game, to the players, to the university. I'm excited for him. So that's what I'm thinking.
What did you from playing for him and coaching with him? What do you see are his strongest traits?
Coach Mainieri is a tremendous teacher, tremendous passion for the game, tremendous knowledge. His father, Demi Mainieri, was a Hall of Fame coach as well, so he grew up around baseball. He grew up on the benches. He was a very good baseball player. For me, as a shortstop, as an infielder, I learned so much from him. He would come on the field and instruct. I think he would tell you this, he's a teacher. But his understanding for the game, his memory, how he plays the game one pitch at a time, how he can anticipate what's going on. I think he's also a tremendous recruiter as well, but a tremendous motivator and just an outstanding person, an outstanding faith-filled person.
What would you say to people, like me and my co-host perhaps and others, we look at things always a little skeptically, who say, my goodness, he's going to be 67. He's been out of the game for 3 years. College athletics, they've changed a lot since he last put on a uniform. Can he adjust? Can he pick up and thrive in this new world of college athletics?
Oh, of course he can. And with Ray Tanner as his athletic director, someone that he's competed against, someone that he respects, with the facilities that the University of South Carolina has, with the tremendous fans that y'all have, I just can't help but seeing anybody at any age just being energized. And what a privilege to get to go to Columbia and be a part of that. And, just the energy. I know he's still got a lot to give to the game.
Yeah. I mean, why do you think he wants to do this now?
I don't know. I think as an athlete, as a competitor, I think you always have that drive in you. And there's very few jobs out there where people are asking for your autograph or people are wanting to speak to you. I know he was a tremendous ambassador for Louisiana State University, and I'm sure he had a tremendous role in helping with, people like Paul Skeens coming to LSU and the people that the people that played there that ended up winning a national championship a few years ago. I know he had a positive influence on those players. I think he recruited all those players. But just his presence, who he is as a person, who he is as a man, a father, a husband, I mean, those were all elements of Paul Mainieri that are just priceless.
Talk with Manny Robinson out in Texas, who lived in South Carolina, but when he was at Air Force, played for and then coached with Paul Mainieri. He's going to be the new baseball coach at South Carolina, according to reports. So, do you think Skip Bertman? You think Skip Bertman might have had something to do with getting these two guys together? Even though I'm sure that Tanner knows Mainieri through baseball circles, I know he and Bertman are very, very close from their coaching days. You think maybe he was kind of possibly a go-between to get the ball rolling on this?
I had no idea. I would just think, though, if Ray Tanner puts a list of people that he would want to make contact with and see if there's an interest or try to pursue, I think Mainieri's going to be on that list and other lists, other schools. So I don't know how Skip Bertman played in there, but I know I have a lot of respect for him and who he is as well. But I have no idea if that ever happened or how that went down.
Yeah. So, I know I'm asking you questions to, you're not the man himself, so these are questions that you won't know the answer to. You can only speculate like we all are. So,
yes, sir.
He comes to South Carolina. You think he's in this thing? Do you think he'll be in it for the long term? Are we looking at a guy that just wants to come in for 3 or 4 years, maybe try to get South Carolina back to the World Series, kind of establish something, then turn it over? Or is this a guy that would want to coach into his mid-70s?
Great question. I think his passion for the game will just continue to grow. And I think he'll surround himself with amazing people and tremendous athletes. And I think his knowledge of the game and how he handles pitchers, how he handles infielders, how he instructs hitters, we'll see. I think it would be a nice fit for him, just looking in from the outside. And I think he would bring a level of energy, too, to the role, no matter what age he is.
Do you think with today's players, the guys coming up, again, he's been removed for 3 years, but you still think the name Paul Mainieri would resonate with baseball prospects across the country?
Very much so.
Why you feel that way?
I just who he is as a person, who he is as a man, and he's got a tremendous resume. I think you're getting a lot of great baseball wisdom, great baseball knowledge, but he's a good recruiter. He knows how to talk to people. He knows how to motivate people. He knows how to inspire people. He's a faith-filled person. He's genuine, and he's a look-you-in-the-eye kind of person. He's a lot of great qualities. I had the privilege of knowing his father, his mom, his brothers and sisters. It's just he's a good person. He's got a good family. His wife is amazing. His children are amazing. So I think you're bringing more than just a great baseball person. So I think he would do extremely well there.
So tell us about you and Air Force and Coach Mainieri in Air Force. What was that like back then at the academy? Trying to do everything you have to do as a student there and also play baseball. What was that like?
Oh, it was a privilege. It was a blessing for me to get that chance to go play at Air Force. And Coach Mainieri, that was his first Division I job. He was at St. Thomas. He got hired at the Air Force Academy. So I got to go and be with him on his first Division I experience, and it was just phenomenal. He brought so much baseball. Not just as a player, and I think he played a little bit with the White Sox organization. But his passion was always to coach and teach. So he brought that to us at Air Force. He's extremely organized and thorough. So as a cadet, as a person, he had a lot of that discipline and structure built in his own character. So that was something that he helped us. But it was a guy who had your back. He learned all about the military. He didn't grow up in the military. He had an uncle that was a colonel, and he had some family members that were in military. But he brought all that stuff to us. And for us, it was just so great to go down to the field every day, something that we'd always done growing up, something that we were passionate about, something that we wanted to do. One of my teammates was Mike Kozlowski, who's the head coach now. And Coach Mainieri's been a tremendous mentor to Mike Kozlowski throughout his career and has had the successes he's having at Air Force now. But as a cadet, it was just, we had a disciplined structure. But at the same time, when you got on the baseball field, that's all that mattered. And then when the game was over, you cross those white lines, you go back to being a cadet and going back to studying. So not too exciting, but just blessed to have that opportunity. Good school.
Well, did you get to fly planes?
I got to fly as a cadet. I got to solo aircraft. I got to jump out of planes.
Oof.
So many things that we got to do as cadets, survival school, basic cadet training, just all those things. But it was really just to try to build leaders, build people with character, build people with discipline. Some of that can go and serve the country, and I'm so proud to be from the Air Force Academy and all the people that are there now and that are serving. So it's
that's awesome. Well, what was when you were in Columbia? What were you doing here in Columbia?
I had got an opportunity. I was living in Texas, like I am now, and I got an opportunity to come to Columbia. One of those unexpected answer to prayers, a job with a tremendous salary. My children got to go to an amazing school there. We got to meet some great people, but I promised my wife. I said, when we get done what we need to do in Columbia, South Carolina, we will come back to Texas. So she had never lived outside of Texas. And it was something I had promised her. So when we got done with everything we needed to get done, we got to come back home.
Gotcha. Well, thanks to Jim Corbett, our mutual buddy. Thank you for joining us tonight to share some insight on Paul Mainieri. The first time we heard Paul Mainieri's name mentioned with South Carolina was about 4:30 this afternoon when Teddy Cahill broke the news. I mean, Ray Tanner, he kept that one in not only his back pocket, but his inside pocket of his back pocket. Nobody had any clue of that. So, but thank you for jumping on board to give us some insight into the man. We look forward to meeting him and then following his time in Columbia. And best of luck to you, and thanks again.
Thank you.
I'm grateful. You have a nice evening.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Okay, that's Manny Robinson, who played at Air Force, as you heard, and coached at Air Force with Paul Mainieri. So a lot of great things there. I mean, it sounds like he checks all the boxes. If you're Ray Tanner, he checks all the boxes.
Yeah. I mean, you cannot argue with his resume, how successful Paul Mainieri has been. If you do have a criticism of him, it's either you wanted somebody else as the head coach or you're just concerned about his age. And I think that's a fair question to ask of him, and it's something he'll certainly have to address, because college baseball is not the same college baseball that he's getting into now is not the same one he left just a few years ago.